Hi everyone, thank you for your purchase of my biweekly annual budget spreadsheet. This is the video tutorial on how to use it. So first of all, I'm going to give an overview of each of the sheet and then I'm going to talk in more details on how to use each of them. Only fill out white cells. So any colored cells are then not meant to be filled out. Sometimes they contain formula. So just a general rule to only stick with filling out white cells. So for example, if you accidentally, I've put warning in place. So if you accidentally input something where there's formula, this warning message will pop out. If you meant to actually override the formula, you can check this box and then press OK. But then this is to prevent you from accidentally editing those cells, so you can select cancel. Let's start with the setup sheet. So one of the first things that you need to do is to set up your category of your savings, income, and expenses. So these are all editable. You can delete and you can edit them as you like. This is also where you set up your income, which I will explain a little bit later. Please don't add or delete any rows. So the bill sheet is where you can find your bill calendar that displays all of your bills, debt, and subscriptions. You can see when they are due and how much. This is also where you log your bills. Under the calendar is where you set up your regular bills, such as your weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly bills. So you do this once by setting up the start date, and everything will be automatically populated not only to the calendar, but also to all of the monthly sheets and the annual dashboard. For any other bills, such as for weekly bills, quarter bills, annual bills, and any irregular bills, please log them in this table here called irregular bills. I'll come back to this sheet later to show you how to do this properly. So tracker sheet is where you log all of your variable expenses, savings, and any irregular income. So you log your fixed income in the setup tab, and then any irregular or variable income, you log them in the tracker sheet here. Savings tab is your savings or sinking funds tab. So you log your savings in a trackers tab and everything will be automatically populated here. This is where you can see the summary of the amount saved, how much progress you made, how much amount you left to save. Everything is summarized in this sheet. There are 16 of them. So these are your monthly tabs. This is the summary of your expenses, savings, and income each month based on your biweekly paycheck cycle, referred here as paycheck 1, paycheck 2, and paycheck 3. So this is not where you log your expenses. This is just a summary of your total income, total expenses, and savings. This is also where you set up your budget in this column here. So there are a total of 12 tabs for each of the month. So this annual dashboard sheet is pretty easy. The only input you need to do here is the starting month. You don't have to start in January. You can start at any month. The current month here is whatever month that you selected in the bill calendar because it needs to auto-populate the bills there first. Once you log your expenses and income and savings properly, you can just see everything is automatically calculated for you here. This is your cash flow summary of the year, income versus expenses. That's the same thing with the annual expense tracker. The only input you need to put here is the starting month, and you don't have to start in January. You can start at any month. And then the current month here is the month you selected for the bill calendar in the bills tab. Once you select the month here, then all of this table here, which is variable expenses, bills, debt, and subscriptions will start in the month that you selected. Don't forget to check out the total against average of the year. So that's quite handy to know. And these three charts here are the amount to date from the month that you select here to the current month. So let's start with how to set up your income. So in this instance here, I have one biweekly salary called, I name it salary one, and it's a fixed amount of 2,200 each paycheck. So what you want to do in that scenario is to check this recurring biweekly box and then enter your start date. So you can enter it at any date. For example, if my payday start on the 6th of January, you enter it this once. So you enter this once for it to show in your bill calendar. So I'll show what happens when you go to the bill calendar. It automatically populates your biweekly income based on that start date to every single month for the future. So when you go from month to month, so this is January, you can see that it started on the 6th of January, and then it populated as as bi-weekly cycle. And then when you go to February, it will automatically populate and mark your income for you. This amount that you put here, which is your fixed biweekly paycheck, will also be translated and automatically populated to each of the monthly tab. If you have a second biweekly income, you can do that. You can name it whatever, and then 2 grand, for example. So to select date, the best way is to double click on it. Yeah, copy and paste and double click, and you can select whichever date you want it to be. So if your second biweekly income started on the 9th of June, you'll see that it's automatically populated here. And then in your monthly tab, the salary to paycheck one, paycheck two. So the great thing about this is automatically populate all of your fixed biweekly income to every single monthly tab. So people ask me, what is goal? So this is optional. Goal is projected income. Ignore it if you don't want to fill it in. That's totally fine. It's just in your annual dashboard. This will be zero, but that's really up to you. It's optional to fill in. Okay, so that was for fixed biweekly income, which is 2 rows here. But what if they are variable biweekly? So that's easy. It doesn't matter what you put here. You can enter zero or whatever you put here, doesn't matter. So when you go to the monthly tabs, you can actually override the formula in this cell here. So the warning message will pop out, and then you can just ignore that and click OK. So I'll give you an example. For example, if this is 2,200 and the next paycheck is 1,800, and this will pop up, then please check this box and then select OK. And this will be 1,800. And you can do that for month after month. So yeah, you can enter any amount here in the cells here for the first biweekly income and then the second biweekly income in these cells here. So it also works for variable biweekly income. So if you have irregular income, I have allowed these 4 rows here. So if, for example, commission, bonus, investment, you can write your category here. For the projected or goal, you can go to the monthly tabs and then log them here. But then to log your actual irregular income, please go to the tracker sheet. So I've allowed this table here called irregular income. You can log any irregular income here by entering the date, category, and amount. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. And then this will then be automatically populated to the monthly tabs based on the dates that you input here. So this is quite an important step. Before I talk about how to log your expenses, I want to talk about how to set up your monthly tabs properly. So you can start pretty much at any month. You do not have to start in January. So I'm going to give you an example. For example, if I decided to start in April, so start with selecting your paycheck date period. So this is all automatic. All you need to do is to select the start of paycheck one. Then the end date of paycheck one and the start and end date of paycheck two is automatically populated for you based on biweekly cycle. So in this instance, I want to start my paycheck for the month of April. My paycheck period start on the 12th of April. So before you log your expenses, after you set up your categories, what you need to do is to set up your start date to each of the monthly tab. If you receive payment bi-weekly, you will receive a total of 26 paychecks in a year. As a result of that, for 2 months of every year, you will receive 3 paychecks instead of the usual 2. So for the other 10 months, you will get 2 paychecks only. So these monthly tabs will automatically identify the third paycheck in a given month and populate it based on the start date that you entered in this cell here. So I'm gonna show you how that works. So for example, if you select 3rd of April, it will show you that you only have 2 paycheck period that month when your payday start on the 3rd of April. But then if you I'll select another month. So if your paycheck start on the 1st of March, it will automatically populate the third paycheck for you. So before you log your bills, this column here, paycheck 3, will all show 0. Whereas if you have only 2 paycheck, For example, if it's on the 6th of March, then they will show as blank. So whenever you see that the third paycheck is blank, blank here, and here, you know that that month you only receive two paycheck. Whereas if you see that it's populated, then that month is your magical month, which you have two months of the year. So yes, let's say that I want to start in the month of April. So 12th of April I've chosen. So this month period is my paycheck is from 12th of April to the 9th of May. So when you go to the month of May, you need to select your start date as 10th of May because it needs to be the day after the 9th of May. So you need to do that to all of the monthly tabs. So when you go to May, 6th of June is your end of paycheck to date. And then when you go to June, then you need to select 7th of June. The same with this, 4th of July as the end of paycheck two. And then 5th of July is the start of the July paycheck. And so on all the way until December. So in December, the end of paycheck two is the January, 2nd of January. That means that your at the start of your paycheck one for the year after. So go to all the way to is the 3rd of January 2024. Then you want to do the same for the February. Then you want to do that for March, and then April is back to 2023. So this is also how you can use this spreadsheet template year after year after year, because as you can see the dates, they're live dates, so that way you can use it at any year, 2025, 2030, doesn't matter. Okay, cool. So in this example, I'm going to undo everything because I'm actually starting the spreadsheet in January. So I'm going to keep it January 2023. Now, to log your expenses, let's talk about logging your expenses. So for recurring expenses such as bills, debt, and subscriptions, you log them in the bill sheet. And then for variable expenses such as eating out, groceries, fuel, shopping, all those occasional expenses, you log them in the tracker sheet. So this is tracker sheet. This is where you log all of your variable expenses such as eating out, groceries, shoppings. This is also where you log your savings and irregular income. Very straightforward, it's very easy to use. Simply enter your date, category, and amount, and all of the other sheets will automatically calculate it for you. So when moving from month to month, please note that you don't need to delete the log from previous month. Keep adding them to the next rows. There are over 1,000 rows in this sheet, so you won't run out of rows. It's important to keep all of the past months log so that when you go from month to month here, they will record and show you the data from previous month. Just a little tips to enter the date. So you can write the dates into different format. So if you prefer to write the dates with month format first and then dates, you can do so by entering the number. So for example, if it's 1st of June, 6, and if it's 1st of May, but then it will show you in this display. If you do want to write your dates with date format first and then month, you can also do so by typing the date first, and then type the first without space. Type the first three letter of the month, APR, for example, and then if it's November, it's December, and then it will recognize it. Just make sure when you enter the date that it will recognize the date by double clicking it, and then you can see that the little calendar will pop out. Another quick way to enter date, you can always copy and paste, and then you can select the date that way. Then simply enter your category and then amount. So you can see once you've done that, when you go to the month of January, for example, this column here, paycheck one and paycheck two, will automatically calculate the eating out, groceries, and all of the categories based on the data that you log in the tracker sheet. The same thing with savings and irregular income. Once you log everything here, then it will pick up and it will automatically populate in this column here to all of the monthly tabs. And the same with irregular income. When you log the commission, which is irregular income here, it will populate it here. So how to log your bills?
So please set up your regular bills first before logging your irregular bills or any other bills. So regular bill setup is for any weekly, biweekly, and monthly bills. You do this by entering the fixed amount, the frequency, choosing the frequency, and entering the start date. If they are not regular bills, if they're outside of these weekly, biweekly, and monthly bills, leave them as blank. Very important not to leave the fixed amount blank once you've started the frequency and start date. So please, the way you fill them out is to fill out the fixed amount first, frequency, and then start date. So once you've entered the start date, then this table here, regular bills, will automatically populate all of your regular bills from the dates that you chosen here, this three column here, here, and here, to the month that you choose here. So in this instance, all of the start date here is in January. And then the month that you select is in March. So this table will automatically populate all of your weekly, biweekly, and monthly bills from the month of January, February until March. So once it's populated in this table, this will then be translated to all of the sheets, including all the monthly tabs and annual dashboard and annual expense. So please make sure you select the correct current month here, then everything will be automatically populated correctly for you. If I go to the month of March, for example, you can see that everything is automatically populated for you based on the dates that you select here. So you don't have to keep logging your biweekly bills every fortnight. So if your fixed amount is easy, you just enter the amount. For example, the rent is fixed. I just enter $400. That's weekly bills. And then the internet is $150 fixed monthly bills. But what if you have variable bills? So in this instance, my electricity, gas bill, and water bill, they're all variable. So please do not leave them as blank. If you have variable bills here, regular variable bills, please enter 0 in this table. So once you've entered 0 here, it will then be translated to here. So you know that in this table, whenever there is 0, which is in white cells, they are all variable bills, which means that you can enter manually your variable bills here. So for example, your electricity bills for the 5th of January is $30. And then the week after, which is here, is $35. And then the week after is $40. So once you've done that, it will be highlighted in gray. So you know that all of the white cells are variable bills where you meant to input your manual entry. Now, for any other bills, if you have 4 weekly bills, annual bills, quarterly bills, and any irregular bills, it's pretty straightforward. Please log them in this irregular bills table by entering the due date, the category, and the amount. So paid columns, which is this column here and this column here, is to update these 3 cells here. So these 3 cells here, total bills, total paid, and total unpaid, are for the month that you select here. So the total bills of the month of March is 2,900. And then when you check the paid box here, it will update these 2 cells. It won't update this one here because this is the month of March. So, but if you scroll, I'm just going to lock this first. If you scroll to all the way to the month of March, and then you check the box, then you can see that it's updated total paid, and then total unpaid will be this amount minus this amount. And if you keep checking that, then it will keep updating that. And that's the same. The other thing is you can see for easy navigation, the month that's selected here are automatically in bold. One thing that is very important to note, especially if you have variable regular bills, if you don't have any variable regular bills and all of your regular bills are fixed, it's really easy because then you don't need to log anything in here, in this table here. But if you do have variable bills, regular bills, it is important to note that you need to finish setting up everything on this table first before starting to enter your variable bills. For example, after you enter all of you've already entered all of your variable amount in these white cells here, and then you decided that the credit card tree is also a regular bills. Please be mindful that these two column here might shift depending on the date you choose. This might shift because this is not locked with that. So please make sure that you finish setting up your regular bills first before entering your variable amount. And if you do need to add regular bills later on after you've entered your variable amount, you can do so. You just have to select the start date that you select. For example, if this is a new fixed amount of variable amount bill, doesn't matter if it's fixed or variable. So this date here is important if you've already entered variable amount. This date here has to be after the last date of variable amount bill that's automatically populated here. So it has to be after the 30th. That's it. The rest is pretty simple and straightforward. Okay, now back to the monthly tab, starting with start balance.
So start balance is the remaining funds from the previous paycheck. So the previous paycheck before the 4th of January, if you have any remaining funds, you can enter them manually here. And this will be translated to this balance here. As you can see, $150, $150. And this paycheck one summary here, the left to spend is balance plus total income minus expenses and minus saving. So the balance that you see in here is the rollover automatically from this left to spend there. And the same that if you have a paycheck tree, the balance that is shown here is the left to spend from paycheck 2. They're the data from variable expenses. So this is just spending breakdown of variable expenses. That way you'll be able to see how much you spend on eating out, how much you spend on groceries per paycheck period. So this is an extract of this column here, and this one is an extract of this column. So total income of paycheck 1 is from this cell here. Total income for paycheck 2 is from here. Total expenses is the total of your bills, debt, subscription, and variable expenses of paycheck 1, paycheck 2, and so on.
I've also updated in the monthly tab this table here. You'll now be able to see the monthly summary, budget versus actual. So whatever budget that you put in these columns here, and here will be summarized in this table here. You then be able to compare it to the actual of the month. So this is not the actual amount of all paycheck. So this is not the actual amount from the 4th of January to the 31st of January. This is the actual amount from the 1st of January until the 31st of January. Even though this is bi-weekly budget, I think it would be handy to know also your monthly summary as well as your paycheck summary here. So I've added also this remaining column here, which is basically the budget or allowance minus the amount spent on paycheck 1 and then minus the amount spent on paycheck 2. So you'll be able to set up your monthly allowance for eating out, for example, and then you'll see how much remaining you have that month in this column here. Okay, now, so what if you have monthly bills that you would like to split across multiple paychecks? So you can do that because these gray cells here, they are not protected. So you can override the formula that you have here. This is based on your log data in the bill sheet. For example, you have $2,000, but then you would like to split it into 1,000, 1,000. So you can just override the formula and then do that. So enter it manually. And the same, for example, the internet, you'd like to split it into 2, then you can do that as well. So yeah, you can use a hybrid. If some of them you want to pay this in a single paycheck and leave it as it is, you can, for example, this, and some of them you want to split the bills, then you can as well. I've added this biweekly dashboard tab to this template for those who wants to isolate each paycheck period. So everything in this sheet will be tracked between the start date and the end date that you select here, which means that you can isolate one paycheck period at a time. In this example, I've chosen 14th of April as the start date. The end date will automatically update based on a bi-weekly cycle. And now your income, savings, and all of expenses in this sheet are tracked between this date until the end date. This means you can allocate goal and also budget to each expenses categories for a bi-weekly period. This is especially handy if you have certain budget for your variable expenses such as eating out, groceries, and shopping per paycheck period. So you can input your budget here. Your actual will be automatically populated from the tracker sheet then you can see the remaining budget of each of your variable expense categories displayed in this column here, with the total remaining budget displayed in this cell here, and it's also automatically populated here for easy view. For the bills, debt, and subscriptions, I have input a formula here, and here to match exactly what's in the actual columns. But please feel free to manually enter any amount here if you want to. You can always enter any number. The cells are not protected, so you can do that for all of the budget columns, even though they have formula in it. When you want to move on to the next paycheck period, simply select the next paycheck period, in this instance in the 28th of April, and everything will be automatically populated according to the new paycheck period. You can also see your biweekly summary in this table here. This is the end balance of your biweekly period between these two dates here, which is your start balance plus total income minus total expenses and minus total savings of this biweekly period. Please note that if you go to the annual dashboard, the total budget that are displayed in the annual dashboard are populated from the monthly tab.
So this is your sinking fund summary. So each diagram is a summary of your sinking fund. So what is safe amount? So safe amount is the total of start amount that you put here. So this savings calculator is where you put your goal amount and start amount. This is non-compulsory. So if you want to put start date and goal date, this calculator here will automatically calculate your biweekly contribution based on the start date and the goal date, and based on the goal amount and start amount that you put. For example, this holiday here with 2,500, start amount 1,000, and these two dates, between these two dates here is 28 number of biweekly. So your biweekly contribution will be $53. It is automatically populated here. So if you want to, this is just for your information, but you do have to manually enter that amount in the trackers table if you want to log your savings. Then you have to put your date, your category, and amount. So each of these diagrams will show you the save amount, which is the start amount plus all the savings that you log here, automatically added and calculated for you in the save amount. And you can see also quickly your goal versus save amount there, your progress, how many percentage, and then what's your left to save based on your goal and start amount. So if you have any ongoing savings, which means that any savings or sinking funds that do not have goal date because you want it to be ongoing, what you need to do is make sure that the goal amount is blank. So if I put 0, for example, then it will change as 0 there. But then if I delete that goal amount, then emergency fund will show as ongoing. So wedding, if I set up a goal amount at 9,000, then it's not an ongoing anymore. The same with home repairs, because basically everything that is blank here, it will automatically show in here as ongoing. Otherwise, it will show at 0 if you do not put a certain goal amount or start amount.
So in this dashboard, you'll be able to see how much ratio you spend from your income on your needs versus wants, and also your savings and debt. So this table here is showing you the percentage breakdown, and this table here is showing you the amount breakdown. You can enter any ratio you want, whether it's 60-20-20, 70-20-10, or 80-10-10. It's up to you. And then please select the month that you wish to view. You do that by selecting the first of the month. Then the first thing you have to do to make these tables work is, if you scroll down, is to allocate your needs versus wants to all of your bills, subscriptions, and variable expenses in these 3 tables here. So once you've done that, then everything will be automatically calculated for you. Please make sure you log your income, bills, expenses, and your savings and debt first, because otherwise then it won't show you the amount here. Then this 2 table will do all the calculation for you. This is the pie chart that shows the ratio of the goal versus the actual. You can also see your highest to lowest expenses in this table here. This is all based on the month that you selected in here. The other feature I add is in this annual expense tracker sheet. So if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you'll see that you can allocate subscription categories. So the categories that are written here are just examples. So please feel free to edit and rename this and enter any categories that you want to input here. So in this instance, it's entertainment, storage, software, transportation. This is all of the list of your subscriptions based on your setup sheet. And then please allocate the category to each subscription. Then this table here is the result. You'll be able to see for the entertainment category how many subscriptions you have, what's the monthly average to date that you spent, and then the annual fees. So that's all will be automatically calculated for you. But of course, please don't forget to log them in the bill sheet first, then allocate the categories here, and then this will automatically calculate it for you. I just would like to explain one more thing, which is how to move on to the following year. So say that you finished your 12 months period and you want to move on to the year after. So first of all, please save it as a new file so that you've got a record of your previous year. And then you obviously want to leave the category as they are. So you don't need to delete this. But then you do need to delete the log that you've input in your tracker sheet and bill sheet. So the tracker sheet, it's easy to delete everything. So basically you just delete everything, highlight it all together and then delete. And then you can put in the new date following year. Then you can just copy and paste and then log your expenses as per normal. The same with savings and irregular income. And then for the bills, so for the bills, you can leave this as they are. You can delete this and then choose the start date of the following year. So if you want to start in, and then just fill out all of the new date for the year after. So you will see that all of the these variable expenses from the year before is just floating there. So what you need to do, and then if you want, just a tip, if you want to uncheck or check all of the boxes in the same time, you can highlight them and press spacebar. And it will uncheck it in the at one go. What you want to do is to copy and paste from the first cell, which is cell U6, that has a formula. So copy and then highlight all of the other cell, which is from the second row here, cell U7, all the way to the last row. Highlight them and then Control V, which is paste, which means that all of this now has the formula, the right formula again, and then you can start filling out your variable amount again. And next is the debt snowball tab. To enter your debt information, please scroll down all the way to row 403. Your debt name already been populated from the setup tab. So all you need to do here is to enter the start balance, your minimum required payment, which is the minimum amount set by your lender as your monthly payment, your interest rate, and then credit limit. Credit limit is optional. It's only if you want to see your credit utilization rate automatically calculated for you, then you need to enter the credit limit. This sheet will automatically sort your start balance from the lowest to the highest. This is because we're using the debt snowball method. So the debt snowball method is a way to pay off your debts by focusing on the smallest balances first. So you start by paying as much as you can towards your smallest debt while making minimum payments on your other debts. Once that smallest debt is paid off, for example, in this instance here, is paid off in the July 2025, you allocate the money you were using for it and apply it to the next smallest debt. As you can see, this repayment becomes $110, although the minimum payments is $60. It's because once this debt is paid off, you're pretty much allocating this $50 towards your next smallest debt. $50 plus $60 is $110. And that's the same case with the rest of the debt. So it's like a snowball effect. So the purpose of that is to speed off paying off all of your debts in comparison to just paying the standard minimum payment. You will pay all of your debt a lot faster this way. So in this sheet, all of the calculations are done for you and all of your information such as minimum payment, interest rate, credit limit are automatically populated here. So the next step is to input your starting month and your current month. Please double click on the cell and always select the first of the month. The same with this one. So once you input that information, this timeline here, month number 1 will start in the month that you selected. Now, if you're using a tablet or phone, the little drop-down calendar might not appear. So to select the month, simply type it. So for example, if you want to select August, simply type 8/1. You can start at any month and any year. Once you've updated that, you can see your debt-free date is updated in this cell here. This is the month when you will pay off all of your debt using that snowball method. Progress of each debt will be shown in this row. This will be updated each month when you go from month to month in this cell, which I will show a bit later. Your paid off date of each debt will be shown in this row, your current balance in this row, and then your credit utilization rate. So what is credit utilization rate? Credit utilization rate is the percentage of your total available credit that you're currently using. It is calculated by dividing your total credit card balance by your total credit card limit and then multiplying it by 100. A lower credit utilization rate is generally better for your credit score as it shows that you're not heavily reliant on credit. And this table here is the summary of it all. So this is your current or remaining balance based on the month that you select here, your current month. This is your total starting balance, total monthly payment, total credit limit, and then this is your total credit utilization rate, which is your total remaining balance divided by your total credit limit. So these two cells here will show you the numbers of debts paid versus the number of debts remaining based on the month that you select in this cell. This pie chart here is the summary of your current balance distribution, which is taken from this row here. When you move on from month to month, simply change the current month here. So when September arrives, simply select the 1st of September. As you can see, it's updating everything. It's updating the progress of each debt, the pay of progress, the current remaining balance, and it also cross out August. So when I move on to July 2025, for example, I'll choose 2025, 1st of July. These cells are updated because you have paid your first debt. So for all of the debts that's been paid, it will show as grayed out, so it's easy for you to visualize and see which debts have been paid off. It will show the progress being 100%. You can see the number of debts paid versus unpaid also been updated. So if I move on to September 2025, then you can see 2 debts been paid. So if I keep moving forward, you will see that all of the debts have been paid off are all grayed out. This pie chart here is also updated accordingly. I'll show you if I move on to March 2031, your overall payoff progress will show as 100%. Then you can see all of your debts are now grayed out. And then your debt remaining is now 0. Now the feature I want to talk about is this monthly extra payment. So if you want to pay an extra amount above and beyond your minimum required payment, you can enter it here. So in this instance, your total monthly payment is $845. This is your total minimum payment of all of your debts. If you want to dedicate a number to add to this each month, you can put it here. So for example, if I enter $100, this will update to $945 per month. As you can see, the more monthly extra payment you put, the quicker you pay off all of your debt. So that's automatically updated. The same with this row will be all automatically updated. So if I enter $200 here, then you even pay off your debt sooner. You can see the details of that in this payment schedule here. So instead of $50 minimum payment, it's $250. And once this is finished, this will be automatically added to the next debt and so on. Now you can also add or reduce your payment for any random month in this column here. So for example, if in September I want to add another $300, simply enter it there. Then you can see everything is updated again because the more money you put towards your debt, the quicker you pay off your debt. And you can also take out some money or reduce the payment in case of unexpected expenses. So for example, in the month of March, I need to take out $200. I need to reduce my extra repayment by $200. Simply enter with minus 200 and it will automatically calculate everything as well. Please be mindful when you're taking out a payment like that, not to take out too much to the point where you exceed your minimum payment. So you need to make sure that the minimum payment is met here. I would recommend to only do that when you absolutely have to, because it's always better to put more money towards your debt so you can be debt free sooner.